Hello, welcome to my stream. I'm back with Supermarket Simulator after a lot of Tamagotchi life. I fixed my follower goal bar, like that's right there, because in the number in the middle, that's all you saw before, because that's how many followers I have right now. It was supposed to say out of 50, which is on the right there. But when I added it on, I accidentally cut off the end. I cut off too much, and I cut off the 50, so it just looked like, oh, my goal is 15 followers, which is still pretty great. What do I need to do? Hi, George. I've come back, George. I think I can just open now because everything's restocked except for that. Do I need coffee or coffee and olive oil? I think I need level 15 before I can hire a restocker. That's salt. I don't have any coffee. I'll just open. Screw that. Hello, welcome to Supermarket. That'd be 30, 37. Thank you, come again. Why is everyone going to George? I have too much life in my eyes, maybe. George looks dead. Thank you, come again. Checkout, post checkout. Let me clean that. It's disgusting. What is that? Ew, why is the cereal rotten? George, did you forget to throw out the expired cereal? How long has that cereal been sitting there? You, George. I'm pretty sure that's my responsibility too. I'm blaming George. It's a nice shirt you got there, sir. Thank you. Come again. Ooh, lots of groceries, man. Big family or just like monthly grocery haul? Thank you. Come again. This lady clearly came back from a football game. Thank you, come again. Have fun at your match. Is that rotting rice? Dang it, George. This is your fault. You have to throw out the expired stuff, George. Come on. I know you did something wrong. I know it was you. I know it was you, George. When can I get a restocker? 15. I'm almost there. I could get it by the end of the day. What should we name him? We can't name him George because he's George. And I think this George would beat up the other George. Because clearly there can only be one. Would you guys consider the restocking sounds ASMR? If you're watching this on YouTube, are these restocking sounds ASMR? Is it? I better not find any more expired products, because when you're sitting here, you could be checking the expiration dates and throwing out the expired ones. Or you could take them home now. I don't want you standing around when you could be doing something, George. No, but while I'm working cash, I can tell you guys some stories from when I worked retail. At my first job, when I worked at a bakery and a grocery store, when I was around 16, and I was getting trained by an older employee. She was like 18, and we had a bread slicing machine, and I wasn't allowed to touch the bread slicing machine because I was being trained. So she's like, oh, you can just do the bagging and the tagging, and I will do the bread. I'll slice the bread. And then so I put the bread in the bag. I used the bread pin. I don't know what it's called. And I printed out the label and ripped it off and then put it on to put it on the bag, and then I cut myself with the label, gave myself a paper cut, and I went to my coworker and she's like, how did you do that? I'm the one with the dangerous machine here. It's like, I got a paper cut from that job. When I did end up being trained and then I ended up working shift alone, someone came to the counter and wanted to buy a cake and have it written on, because you know how you can say like happy birthday Joe or whatever. They asked for happy birthday a-hole, you know, and I wrote on it with yellow icing, I believe, and when I finished writing on it, the girl was gone. So I had a birthday that said happy birthday a-hole, and I could just take it off. So I left it in the fridge with a note saying, someone ordered this cake and didn't, and left it here without paying. So I didn't get in trouble for it because I guess maybe that happens sometimes, but I just have to like watch them better, like the customer. When I was 18, I worked at a like mini amusement park, and there you have to operate like almost all the rides. You have to be 16 and up. If you're younger than 16, you can operate like the kiddie rides, and you can like do the games, and you like run water. But I was 18, right? And I remember one of the guys were like, how is she allowed to operate the rides? There's no way she's 16. I was like, I'm 18. And then I showed him my ID. It's like, that's fake. You're not 18. You're 14 at most. I was like, I'm not, I swear. But at that job, I got injured at every single ride. At the tilt-a-whirl, there's a lever that keeps the carts from like falling. Like, it's not anti-gravity, but it locks the carts a little bit. But this woman and her son, like, she was quite fat. She sat in the cart, and then it started rolling down, and my foot got caught between the cart and the middle of the ride, and the lady like noticed it right away, and she got out and helped me up. Luckily, my foot was fine, and she felt so sorry, and then it's like, oh, it's okay. And then I just told her to go back into the ride, and I continued my safety check, and then the ride went on, fine. That was the only one that wasn't painful. That was just like it hurt for like for like 5 seconds. My foot was fine. At the scrambler ride, I don't know if y'all know what that is, but it's just like it goes in like in a circle. It's like a bunch of like wings of carts, and like it spins around, and then the whole thing also spins around. You can probably look up what a scrambler is. The scrambler is, but I operated that, and that one is the only one that had like an old engine running the ride. It was so hot that whenever I was in a box like with a lever and all that, and the fumes from this old engine was like going up, and it was hot too. So like my box was so hot that I passed out from heat exhaustion, and one of the moms saw that and like was like because one of them I fell asleep on on the fence of the ride. Like I passed out on the fence of the ride, and one of the moms like shook me awake. It's like, ma'am, and then yeah, luckily I did wake up, and then I just stopped the ride. It's like I have to go to the staff room. It's like yeah. I actually don't even know how she woke me up, but she did wake me up because this was a while ago. I just know I did pass out from that. Another time was, you have to keep in mind, it's an amusement park. It's family friendly. You're not supposed to swear and all of that. The scrambler, you're supposed to close it and lock it. Usually people do it on their own, but you have to do safety check. And if people need their help, you have to help them. You know, close and lock the door for them. And there's an elderly couple that wanted to go on the scrambler, so I closed and locked for them, and I closed it on my hand. It's a metal door, by the way. I closed it on my hand, and I went, fuck. and then I'm like, I'm so sorry, because I thought the elderly couple would be like, oh, but no, they're like, oh, we understand. Like, I just closed a metal, like, it wasn't a big metal door, it wasn't that heavy, but I still closed a door on my hand. And there's the other one was a drop tower, and this one was the easiest to operate because it will not run until they're actually secured, which is perfect for like safety check, and like if you mess up the safety check. But also, it's easier to operate. It's a button and I think a lever. That's it. I don't know what the things are called, but you pull it down, and then there's like there's a seatbelt buckle. You can push the button itself, and then there's a release button to lift all the. I don't know what those like padded things are that you put on for roller coasters, but there's a button to release all those. But I was like helping. I was like pushing the red button for the seatbelts, and one of them hooked onto my down. That one hurt so much, like, and that one hurt the most. And it was the most simple injury. Like it was just, and I was in so much pain, and the girl that was in the car was like, what was like, and she was like, oh, she was so disgusted too, and she's like, she's kind of horrified too, because like my nail just ripped out, like half of my nail just ripped out, and oh, it was disgusting. And there's one final one. It was the paratrooper, and you know, it's the one where it goes in the air and swings. And when it's, you have to be careful of that because it's really low when it's like not operating. So I was doing a safety check, and of course I was like ducking, and I was like ducking under and to go to do the safety check, and I just bang into the metal right now. I didn't like get knocked out or anything. I just like, ow, and my like it's kind of ringing for a little bit. Like I felt like I did feel a little dizzy for a little bit, but again, it was like the what's it called, the tilt-a-whirl. It's kind of like the tilt-a-whirl. It's painful, but it's nothing really. Like the nail ripping and the scrambler ones. The drop tower and the scrambler ones were the only ones that like the pain lasted like the injuries were pretty bad and didn't last like it. The paratrooper and the tilt-a-whirl weren't that bad. They didn't last that long. But yeah, I think all of those were just like I was 18 and I wasn't really careful with myself. If I don't clean, will the customers get mad? I'm just wondering. Because I've never actually let the drop go to like full yellow. I've never done that. I don't really want to because I've made so much progress. I don't want to. I don't want to mess it up. I can tell the story of my first Karen I've ever had. I was, I believe 19. I worked at a restaurant, and it was a Chinese restaurant, and they had a dish called a satay beef. And most of the beef dishes are kind of the same. It's just different sauces. They've made the same. It's just different sauces. And this man and his wife ordered the satay beef, and I went inside, and there's like, oh, we don't have satay beef. We don't have satay sauce. You have to go tell him, and he just had to pick another beef dish. And I went up to him and I told him exactly what the cook told me, and he was like, what do you mean you don't have the satay beef? We don't have satay sauce. Like, how do you not have satay sauce? Like, we ran out. You can order another beef dish. Like, they're all the same price. They're pretty much the same dish. It ended up with a lot of crying, but he was like, it's not my fault, you can't do your job. It's like, I want to speak to the manager, and he was so mad. It was a male Karen too, but those are a thing. And I was like crying because this was my first Karen. Like, all the customers usually are like very easy. Maybe it's because it's like a local restaurant. Most of them are most of their customers are regulars, so I wasn't used to that, and I was like crying. I gave my notebook to the girl who's working cash. She worked as a waitress too, but she said, when it's not busy, one of us works works cash, one of us works the floor, and gave it to her. Like, I need a second. I was like sobbing. I was like, I need a second. So I went into the kitchen. I was crying, and then the cook like saw me crying. He's like, what's wrong? I was like, the man is so mad at me for the satay beef. And I sat down for a bit. Was like, I gained my composure because I had. By the way, I had two tables. I had that one, and I had my 7th grade or 8th grade English teacher. Like, she's like your typical like blonde hair, like red lipstick. She was like very like, she was always perky and happy. She was like everyone's favorite teacher, and she was my other table. And keep that in mind. So I was crying in the kitchen, and the guy who's in charge of packing the meals and running them to the front counter was like, it's okay, it's your first Karen. It was bound to happen. He's like, you know, he's in the wrong. You know, don't let him bother you too much. Yeah. But so when I went back out, I got my I didn't get the Karen table. The other girl, she took care of it. I got my teacher as my table back, and she saw all of this, and she like tipped me, but she didn't like tip me like at the cash, because you usually like split the tips at the restaurant. You split the tips. You split the tips. You give a percentage to the kitchen, but usually there's two people who didn't have to split their tips. It was me, because I was like 10 years younger than everyone, so they're like, oh, she's young, she needs it for school. And the other one was the another lady. She's like much older. She's been working there since the restaurant was open. So she gets her own tip jar. But the customer didn't know that. So, like my former teacher didn't know that. So she handed me my tip, and it was a lot. It was a big tip. It was like her meal wasn't that much, and she gave me like $30 tip. It was a lot. I don't remember exactly, but I remember it was a lot. It's a lot more than her meal, and I'm just like calculating like with like how much her and her friend's meal would have been, because it was two people. Like there's no way that like a meal for two people and like 15%, which is usually what if you don't know how to tip, if you don't know how much to tip, just go 15. If you don't know how much to tip and you want to tip, go 15. She gave that. There's no way $20-$30 was 15% of what she ordered. It was not that much at that restaurant, at least. But she gave me like a big tip. She gave it directly to me because she didn't know that like I wasn't part of the splitting. But she was like so sweet. Like there's like at those kind of restaurants where like the customers are locals, they're so sweet. I remember there's this like this lady, I think she was a tourist, and she was like asking questions like, oh, what's in the vegetable stir fry? And I was like trying to, because the thing is I know generally what are the ingredients, but she was like asking what vegetables, and I was like, there's broccoli, there's cabbage, there's mushroom, there's carrots, and I was trying to think of like all of them, and there's one regular. She's like your stereotypical like Christian suburban mom. She was a regular there, and she was like watercress and corn, and I was like, thank you so much. Like I did say that afterwards, like after I was finished with my table, but she was it was really nice of her to help, because I was like blanking, because I knew the basics of like the carrot and the cabbage and the broccoli and mushroom, but I blanked out on the other stuff, because you want to tell them everything that's in it. But she's a regular, and she's ordered that dish before, and she was there with her grandchildren, and her grandchildren was her grandchildren, like her tiny grandchildren, they must have been like the two of them. The older one must have been like at most 5, and they were coloring. They made a big mess, but I didn't care because the lady was so sweet. TLDR, she was so sweet. She was so sweet for the locals. Your best customer are the regulars, the locals, because they're not the Karens. The Karens usually don't return, and if they do return, they're annoying. I didn't have the worst Karen. My on the days that it's busy, there's 3 people working the front, so 2 people on the floor, 1% the cash, and the guy that was working the floor, we're supposed to split tables. You get every other table. It's written on the board, and there's a group of ladies who came in, and that's the thing with Karens, they can come from they're all ages. They're boomers, they're Gen X, they're millennials, they're Gen Z. I haven't had all of them, but I've seen some from every age range. These group of ladies were like millennials. They're the waiter's age, right? And apparently they've come before, and they're awful. Apparently they're awful. And I remember by the end of the day, he was when those two ladies left, the waiter was so mad, because they had complaints about everything, like the fried wontons, like these are too overcooked. Brought it back in. The cooks cooked it less, and I think they gave them like 5 times. It was like, we can't give them more wontons. We can't undercook them anymore, because if we undercook them anymore, they're gonna be raw, and then we're gonna get in trouble for feed. We can't feed our customers raw food. And it's like and told them that. And it's like they're like, oh. And they were complaining about like how the vegetables were too juicy, and it's like, no, not too juicy. There weren't enough juice. When you order the they usually don't drain all the juices out of the vegetables, but you can't have all the juices, because then it's gonna like soak it because not all customers like eat like right away. No. Especially when there's 2 people, you're like talking. At least 2 people, you're like talking. So they don't drain all of them, but they drain most of them, so it's not like sitting in soup, but like if there is like a decent amount of juice in there, and when there's rice, there's all well, the more stuff that's on the side, the less juice is gonna be because it's gonna ruin the rest of the meal. When they have like a rice in the combos, they can't like put all the juices in there because and you can just, if you want extra juice, you can order extra like juice like free of charge because like it's excess juice. They'll just like put the juice on the side because if you have rice, just put the juice on the side and serve it. And they asked for it, and it's like, finally. And they had complaints about everything, and then someone in the kitchen said this, and it's like I don't know why they keep coming if they have complaints of everything. If genuinely we're doing something wrong, just if genuinely you have complaints about our food every single time about everything, if you have complaints about something every single time, don't come back. Why are you coming back to a restaurant that you seem to hate every single dish? And it's not like they order different things every time. They always they do the wonton thing over and over. And the thing is, they're very like, polite. That's why they made the wonton so many times. And like when they gave that, it's like, oh, fine. And they didn't. And like I sometimes they do like. It's a waste. You're wasting food and you're wasting their time. And I do believe like those kind of Karens, they just want power. Like a lot of Karens, they just want power, and those people just want to like boss people around. They don't have control of their own life, so they want to boss. These people they're not making that much money. Why do you have to make them miserable? It's like, I'm not saying you can't complain when your food is made wrong, but they have the same complaints every single time, and it's ridiculous because, like I said, with the wontons, like they're too overcooked. It's like we can't like they did it 5 times, and it's like they can't undercook it any less because it's just raw, and they told him that, and they always eat all their food anyways. They always have a complaint about everything, and they do the same stuff. But I will say, like, there's some moments that are like really like sweet. When I ID people for alcohol, it's okay if you're not balding. Well, not balding. Like when I mean balding, I mean like it's not the hairline balding. It's like here balding there. And if you're like gray, then I won't ID you, or if you're there with your children, because in Canada it's 19. The drinking age. So if you're there with children, you look older and you have children. If they're young looking and they have children, because you could be a teenager and bring your siblings there. But I usually ID pretty much everyone. So when I did this like group of women and a group of millennial women. I know they were millennial because I saw their IDs and they're like, oh, thank you. And they're like, I saw their IDs and it was from the early. They were born in the early 90s, and they're so sweet. Like, you're so sweet. It's like, oh, I have that. Yeah, it's like, you look great. And yeah, it's so sweet. But working like all these jobs, I've also learned one instance that I have a higher pain tolerance than I thought. I worked at a poke bowl restaurant, and there's 3 people working every shift. In the mornings, in like the early afternoon, like, okay, let's split the afternoon, mornings and early afternoon. There's 2 people working in the back, 1 person working in the front. People in the back are obviously doing prep. Stuff you do is you like chop vegetables. You would defrost the cooked shrimp you'd buy from the supermarket, and you would like peel and cut the tuna and salmon. And you do all of this with gloves, and then you throw out the gloves when you're finished But I was I hated doing this. I wanted to do the vegetables, but you can't do the vegetables every single time. I was peeling the salmon and I nicked myself, and I didn't realize I nicked myself. I didn't realize it. I just saw the hole in my glove, and I was like, oh, I need to change gloves. And I went to the sink, and I pulled my glove off, and I just saw just blood on my hand. And I was like, oh, and I washed it, and I was holding a paper towel, and I went to my coworker and said, I'm bleeding, where's the first aid kit? And I was like, what happened? And I was like, I nicked myself cutting salmon. And then I just got a Band-Aid, and then I continued on. I didn't realize that I hurt. I didn't realize I nicked myself. I don't know how I didn't realize it. I just didn't feel it. To be fair, it wasn't a bad cut. It was just like here. No, but my most recent retail / restaurant job was at a sushi restaurant. That's when my last relationship, around when my last relationship ended, I streamed on my ex's PC. And I went on hiatus because of I needed to study more. And then we broke up. I actually got dumped at work. Like it was a slow day, and then my ex called me, and I took it to the bathroom, and then he broke up with me, and honestly, it wasn't a long relationship. It was like 4 months. I was crying, but I didn't want to cry in front of my coworkers. I hate crying in front of people. I didn't like crying and like to my mom. I just go to my bed and like, cry there, and I'd just say, oh, I'm napping. I'd never tell. I don't like crying in front of people. I don't. Like, I was like welling up, and I had to cut cucumber, so I was like, and I didn't want to make sounds, so like I was biting my lip, welling up at the eyes, and yeah. But I don't know why it only really hurt that day, because after that didn't feel anything, and then like a couple months later, I met my boyfriend. We bonded over the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then a year later we're still together. My ex moved on too pretty quickly. I went to go pick up my stuff. He got a new cat. I miss those cats. That's one thing, I still miss those cats, and I want cats. But cats are expensive to maintain. And I don't know if and my apartment definitely doesn't allow cats. I don't know if my boyfriend's apartment allows cats. Those are the stories that I remembered, but there's one where it was the most recent one, because it was this year's preseason of this year's NHL like preseason. And the first game that Montreal played against Ottawa in the preseason, they swept them. Not swept them. Sorry, that was the wrong word. It was shutout. They won like 5-0. And then the next game, I was working that day. Like the day of. I got to catch the last period when I went home, but there's a dad and his son. He came in with Habs jersey. He was wearing a Patrick Roy jersey, and the son was wearing a Slavkovsky jersey. Not only was he wearing a Slavkovsky jersey, because it was fall, it was a little hot, so he took off his Slavkovsky jersey and is wearing a Habs hoodie. He took that off. He's wearing a Hab t-shirt. Not only that, he was wearing a Hab hat. This, like, clearly, like, either he's a big Habs fan, his dad's a big Habs fan, or both. Probably both. But his dad was so happy, and I was like, oh, they're probably gonna win. It's like, oh, well, it's like, we don't know. And then I said, oh, well, they got a shutout last game, so there's no way that they could lose this time. I jinxed them. I definitely jinxed them. And I probably shouldn't have said anything, but they lost. They lost 5-1. Like, it was 5... I'm pretty sure 5-1. It was 5-0, and then when I came home, Caulfield scored. They did an empty net, which... That's bold. I think they just didn't want to shut up, but Caulfield scored 1 goal. Cole Caulfield scored 1 goal, and it wasn't a shutout anymore. But they still lost. But it was preseason, so who cares?